Welcome to building this torsion catapult. In the past, I've built a torsion ballista, but I wanted to take what I learned from that and improve on it, make another iteration of a torsion catapult. The reason why I didn't want to do another ballista is because you have to make two torsion boxes, and I had an idea for a stronger torsion system. So instead of building two of them, I'm just going to build one in the catapult form. I wanted to keep this build simple and as affordable as building a catapult can be. And I know the whole joke of, oh, build a catapult for $20, and then they have $500 worth of tools or even more. I do have quite a bit of woodworking tools. I'm very fortunate in that regard. But other than that, I'm just using cheap lumber and trying to keep all the parts in an affordable budget. Here I'm starting by building the frame. I'm using treated 2x8s because when I went to Menards for lumber, the untreated 2x8s were like almost the same price, and we're all kind of twisted up and in bad shape. This one has that weird groove in it, but that shouldn't affect our build too much, and I put it on the outside so it's not inside the frame, messing everything up. The frame I'm building is a 3 foot by 5 foot frame. I'm trying to keep it small so that I can store it in the garage. Um, I don't have the most storage space, plus lugging around a giant catapult isn't the easiest thing. So keep it light enough that I can carry it around myself. I'm just using different size deck screws. Any kind of screw will work. So if you're going to do this, I made the mistake of not using a square, and everything isn't square, but we get by it and things should be fine. Since this is just another iteration, I'm not too worried about it being perfect and just keeping it simple. This is a learning experience, not my magnum opus yet. So here I'm just using a regular 2x4 to build some cross supports to stop the whole box from twisting in on itself, give it some more integrity. Just making 45-degree cuts at a decent length, kind of just guessing on the size. This is where I got after my first day of building. Probably spent an hour and a half doing this, getting things set up. My workshop isn't the most opportune setup, the most ideal setup. So the next was building the ratchet system. This was the idea I had for the torsion system. We'll come to find out that I don't think this idea will work, so we change it later on, but I wanted to leave this in to kind of explain my first idea. I was going to use this ratchet and keeper system in order to crank the torsion and keep it locked so it doesn't untwist itself. I'm probably going to do this in a later iteration. The reason why I scrapped it here was I wanted to get like a bearing that I could put underneath it and mount it into the wood so that it doesn't move around when you're twisting it. That way it could actually ratchet and have a lot less friction. I didn't have the money to get the bearings I wanted, or I didn't want to spend the money on it because I'm just trying to learn here, keep it simple. But for now, I'm building these, and in a later episode, you'll see me explaining why I don't think it'll work. Cutting these out on the bandsaw was kind of a nightmare. There's a lot of small cuts, a lot of curved cuts. My hands were kind of close. Not the best with a bandsaw, but practice will just make me better. So these were originally going to go one on the left side, one on the right side, and have the ropes loop through it. Again, you'll see this in a later episode, and I'll explain more then. But for now, these sonic wheel looking things are what we are making. This is the little keeper piece to stop the system from unratcheting. That was my cat, Roxy. She's very old. This was the piece that was the most terrifying to cut out. It was just really small, a lot of fine grooves. It didn't come out very good, but I just used the sander to clean it up. So that was the idea there. You can see that would ratchet and that would stop it from untwisting. So this is day 3 of the build. I just built those 2 wheels last time because they took too long to cut out, and I don't have the most time during the week working and trying to do this as well. So here I'm making the ratcheting pull down system, or where the rope is going to attach to the arm and be put on a crank. All these ideas and choices I've made are just kind of an amalgamation of the last ballista I made, plus watching other people's YouTube videos that are related to this, and looking up images of ballistas and just combining all those. My board had a crack in it. Menards lumber, I mean, just cheap lumber in general. What can you expect? So I just cut the crack out, use the original piece I was going to make as a reference for the new one. This board had a warp in it, and I still used it, but it shouldn't be a problem. Out in the garage that I'm working, we only have one plug. So you'll see it happen a lot where I'll go to start a tool and then you'll see me get up and have to plug it in quick. It just happens all the time. It's really annoying because I'm just running an extension cord. You'll see right here. So that was one side of the ratcheting system. This will be the other. It'll sit on like that. I'll have a rod go through and make a crank, measuring the piece of wood I'm going to mount them to give them some structural integrity. To start, I was doing this alone, so I had to hold everything, set up the tripod, and do it myself, but I got a friend to agree to help out. So in later episodes, you might see him lending me a hand. He's been a great help. Really appreciate him. Given that this thing is the only thing that's going to be pulling the arm down, I'm wondering if it's going to be strong enough. Since this is a learning experience, there's only one way to find out. We're just going to use it. So now I had to cut out another small wheel. This is for the crank that's going to be pulling the rope down. I used a screenshot from a guy's YouTube video. In the video, he was like, yeah, if you just search Google, you can find this really easy. Well, I searched, couldn't find it, so I just took a screenshot of his video. Then I used InDesign to make the wheel the right diameter. So I just cut it and then measured it to 4 inches, printed it out, and then cut it out of the sheet of paper. And yeah, I'm making another Sonic wheel. This was probably one of the worst things to cut on the bandsaw. Once I get all the excess wood off it, I'm cutting just those grooves, those little curved cuts. Made me really nervous. My woodworking experience includes making like desks and deck sofas, and one woodshop class in high school, which was about 11 years ago now. So I'm probably like a moderate woodworker, definitely still new to the craft, but I've experimented with it before, so I know a thing or two. There's the last Sonic wheel, 4 inches in diameter. This keeper here. With this one, after I was done, I remembered that I had a belt sander, and I was like, oh, I can actually make this look pretty. So instead of having all those jagged bandsaw cuts, it actually came out really nice. At the end here, after I cut this out, I tried to use the bandsaw as a sander, and that was what reminded me that I have a belt sander. It's lovely to have the tools that you need. So that ratchet will go there, the keeper will go there. And as you turn the crank, it'll ratchet up, and that's the idea. Thanks for watching, guys. This is just a part 1 of the episode. Many more parts to come. I don't know how many parts it'll take, but at the end, we're going to be shooting stuff. Give us ideas for what we should shoot, and have a good day.